On to Tech Show Today, our live video show from the top of the Chicago Hilton at ABA Tech Show 2017, soon in 1 year to be 2018. And I'm Dennis Kennedy. I'm in-house counsel at MasterCard with our Digital Payments and Labs group. I'm chair of the board of the ABA's Legal Technology Resource Center. And I'm also the co-host of the Kennedy Mighell Report on the Legal Talk Network, which is fortunate because, Tom, tell us what you do.
So, my name is Tom Mighell. I am a Vice President of Delivery Services at Contouro. I am, along with the person to my left, the incoming co-chair of ABA Tech Show 2018. And, as Dennis points out, I am the second half of the Kennedy Mighell Report podcast on the Legal Talk Network. Debbie.
And my name is Debbie Foster with Affinity Consulting Group, and I am also co-chairing Tech Show 2018. And I have never actually been a guest on the Kennedy Mighell Report. Mighell Kennedy Report, however you say that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I've asked to be invited, and I haven't been invited yet. So there's that, and I live in Tampa.
Logistics, just the logistics
Right, okay,
issues.
got it. Yes, that's me.
My name is Steve Best. I am also with the Affinity Consulting Group. I am a lawyer turned practice management technology consultant, and I was proud to be the chair of Tech Show 2016 just last year. And so I'm going to go ahead and open up the questioning with for our incoming chairs and ask you that you both have done this before. Tom, I think you were the chair in 2008. Debbie, you were the chair in 2010. How is it that you're doing this again?
Momentary aneurysm, or
No, it was the booze.
was it the booze? Was there booze involved?
There might have been.
It was actually 8 in the morning when I was asked to do it. So
You shouldn't drink that.
I'm not going to admit to that. So,
Yes.
I mean, the logistics of next year are kind of interesting because this is the last year that Tech Show is going to be in the Chicago Hilton. We're moving to a new hotel, and when moving to a new hotel, there are a lot of challenges and a lot of things that people need to plan for, and so they've asked for us to help come in and help with that transition. There's also some things that we want to do to move the Tech Show board forward, I think, in a way that helps to groom and build great technology leaders of the future. And since we have that experience, they want to take advantage of our elder statesman status in the Tech Show board to come in and find some ways to build that succession planning so that we have great, fantastic Tech Show boards moving into the future. Debbie, I don't know if there's...
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd add to that is that we're both really passionate about Tech Show. We love Tech Show. And I'm just noticing now that I'm the only person who still has my name tag on, so I don't know how that happened.
She's so passionate about Tech Show,
but
she never takes it off.
We're passionate about Tech Show. We love the show, and once you get involved with it and you become invested, you want it to be successful. And Tech Show called and said, "You guys willing to do this?" And we said,
Sure.
"Why not?"
And I think it also part of the other reason is that Debbie and I really do work well together. I think, at least so far, and so I think it just made sense to do it. Frankly, I'm gonna want to talk about whether there should just be co-chairs forever, not us co-chairs, but
not
but
not
the Tech Show
us.
chair job is a hard job. I mean, it's a lot of work, and you can testify to that.
Absolutely.
And when people have a full-time job on top of that, it's hard to do.
And I think that it also is it's a family. We've all become friends through Tech Show, and we want to support each other. Tom and I are really good friends and work really well together, and it was just a good fit. Even we talk to attendees who say this is like another little family. I can't imagine not being here. So we love the show. We're passionate about it, and we want to continue, as all chairs in the past have done, to continue to make it better.
And I feel like I agree. This is a family, and we're all willing to pitch in. And when I volunteered to be part of your board, I was thrilled with the way you treated me like the brother you wanted to keep away from the actual project. So, but I offered. So I mean, I guess you guys have been, seeing what's happening this year. And I think the buzz has been great this year. The traffic has been great. Some really interesting stuff. But as you kind of looked around, checked out speakers, checked out the exhibit hall, what are some of the ideas that you think really worked this year? Because there are a number of new things that we're trying this year. But so what do you like so far?
I mean, I would say I was being one of the speakers on the labs, in the labs track. I was a little skeptical. Honestly, I was like, I don't know if anybody's going to come to the labs. And I only saw the room for 2 of them, but the one prior to mine and mine were packed. And they were very interactive and people loved them. And all I could think about the whole time was, how do we take this idea and make it better? I mean, we couldn't get our people to stop talking to each other at the tables about the challenges they have. And it's just, Adriana brought in communities, which we love, the concept of communities. And we found that some of the sessions were very community oriented and just getting people to talk to each other about their challenges. I think we do more of that.
And the things that I thought, some other things that I thought were particularly interesting and successful were the academic track. This is the first time that we brought in the universities who are actually working to teach people about practice management and finding ways to bring TECHSHOW attendees in to talk with them about that and figure out how they can grow to other law schools and improve the process of teaching lawyers about both technology and practice management. And then I think that that the other thing that I liked was kind of the, I won't call it a non-traditional approach, but I would say a new approach to what the tracks were like, because in addition to having tracks about technology itself, it was things that were a little bit more practice-oriented and a little bit more things that kind of revolve around the idea of technology. So productivity track, how to be more productive in your practice, time management, that sort of thing.
Process.
Process mapping and process development. And then work-life balance is finding how to find a place, because that's also practice management too. It doesn't really fall into a neat category, but it's included too. And I think having those options to say it's not all about technology, I think is effective.
And I think that's true for the division, the law practice division as a whole. I mean, the division prides itself on technology, finance, marketing, and management, and I think all of those terms can be quite broad. What's on? I've been coming to TECHSHOW now since the year 2000, so this is my 18th TECHSHOW, and I think this is overall the 31st ABA TECHSHOW. So you're going to be chairing the 32nd ABA TECHSHOW, and I know that things have changed a lot from my perspective from 2000 to today. So looking forward one more year. What's on tap for 2018 that you can share with our viewers?
So we're moving to the Hyatt. We've already talked about that. We're very, very excited about a new venue, just fresh start, really, really cool thing. And Tom was actually fortunate enough to be chair of TECHSHOW when we moved from the Sheraton to the Hilton. So we're very excited about the new venue.
Yep. No, having a new place, it brings a whole lot more opportunities. What we like the most about the new venue is that the vendor hall is much improved in terms of how the layout is, and that the attendees will be able to get to more parts of the vendor hall without missing things. We're excited about kind of the opportunities to expose more of the attendees to what the exhibitors are offering and the tools that they have. I think that's really interesting. One of the things we really want to work on for 2018 is getting more lawyers involved in the process, is bringing more attendees in and really finding new ways to bring them in. I think that involves partnerships with our exhibitors, having them reach out to the people that they work with and bring them to TECHSHOW, working more with state bar organizations or other places to bring attendees in, because as many people as come to TECHSHOW, I still think there's not enough. I still think there could be more, and I would want to really try to grow. That would be one of my goals next year, would be to try and get more attendees coming to the show.
Does the Hyatt give us more room to grow in terms of the size of the audience?
It does. It does, because what I understand is that even with us, there may be another conference going on at the same time that will be kind of competing alongside with us for space, which has always been a concern about having a conference, is you kind of want to be the only group that's out there. But no, this gives us the ability to grow if we need to.
So with TECHSHOW, I know that when I was asked to chair the 2016 TECHSHOW, we began planning that in 2015. So I'm sure that some planning has been going on since you both were asked and accepted the invitation to chair. Tell our viewers a little bit about, if people are out there who want to be more involved in TECHSHOW, what can they do? Where do they start in trying to be more involved in participating in TECHSHOW?
Well, I think the first answer is, if you want to be involved in TECHSHOW 2018, the best way to do it is I'm going to announce this, and slap me down if I shouldn't announce this. We're going to have a call.
Before or
We're
after?
going to have a call for speakers.
Oh, yeah,
We're going to
for
have a
sure.
process
Good.
where we're going to call for proposals and have people come and submit a proposal. So keep a watch on the Tech Show website and submit a request to speak. We're going to look at everybody and decide on what we think are the best topics and have those speakers come in. Obviously, if you want to be more involved in Tech Show at some point, come to the show. If you haven't been, it really helps to get a sense of what it's like. The other part of it that I think I would recommend is join the law practice division, because you get the access to all the resources of the division. You get to hang out with some really cool people who know a lot about all the 4 core areas of practice management, and then that helps you get more involved with Tech Show. You can sit in on the meetings, you can learn about how it works and what's going on, and we're thinking about ways to really involve more people next year, just outside the planning board, to try and find more ways to help cultivate speakers, help cultivate board members and other participants. And so if there's folks watching out there that want to do it, then find a way to contact us. We'd love to try and find a way.
And I think the communities piece of it, too, is a really important part of that. We want to continue that. Every Tech Show chair kind of leaves their mark on Tech Show. And one of the big things, I think, for Adriana is the Tech Show communities and what she's brought to the table with that. And we definitely see the value in it. We've had attendees who have said, you need an immigration community, you need the places that there weren't an official community for them this year. So we really want to build on that and get as many people involved, because we're confident that once people come to Tech Show, they can't imagine not coming. So we just need to get people in the door.
Well, and I think part of the value of communities is something that doesn't get talked about as often at Tech Show and probably needs to be emphasized more, which is that the people that speak at Tech Show, the people that are on the vendor floor who sell the products, they're not the only experts. They're not the only ones with experience in technology. There's a lot of attendees who have similar experiences and who have similar things they want to talk about, and putting communities together and say, how are you in the family law world handling this issue with technology? Well, here's what I did. Oh, that's interesting. Putting those people together, I think, is, I hate to use terms like magic because that's so unfair, but it really is the nice part of Tech Show, because you're bringing people together who wouldn't ordinarily have a chance to meet and talk about these issues.
Yeah, I mean, one of the observations that we had a number of people make on the show is that the technology itself is becoming sort of almost part of the background. It's there, it's accepted, especially with the younger lawyers. And so in the beginning you would say, oh, I'm really excited about this new laptop or new hardware. Well, it's almost irrelevant. So what you're more interested in say, okay, how do we apply technology?
Right.
And what are people doing that's really cool? So I think the community thing starts to make sense, because I do want to know not just the technology itself. I want to know, like, the people who are doing similar things to me. Like if in immigration they're doing certain things, estate planning they're doing certain things, I want to do that, because I'm not so concerned of like what's the best laptop to buy or that sort of thing. So I see definitely the communities. You mentioned the labs thing, but you didn't really go into detail on that. Could you talk a little bit about the labs?
Sure. So the labs were meant to be an interactive, you'll have a kind of a step-by-step plan. So my lab was on Lean Six Sigma, a Lean Six Sigma tool called DMAIC, and it was really interesting. We had 6 tables that were pretty full, and we asked everyone, we talked a little bit, gave them an introduction, and then we asked them to think about a big problem they have in their firm and how they might start to think about how they would tackle it on Monday. And it was so fascinating to see, we gave them the background, they got together, they all talked for a few minutes. Then one of the lawyers said, one of my big challenges is getting judges to sign discovery orders. And I'm waiting so long for it, and it's really a cash flow problem. So that's my issue. And I said, no, your issue isn't getting the judge to sign the discovery order, because you can't actually control that. Your issue is cash flow. And watching the whole room go, right, that's exactly getting to the root cause of our problem and really understanding and being in a safe place where you can talk about things like that you maybe wouldn't talk about with your colleagues that live next door to you or practice in the law firm down the street from you. You might not be as comfortable. And we just had a great session brainstorming and talking about what are the challenges that you face, how might you solve them, and like you said, it wasn't just about technology. In fact, a lot of the problems that people brought up, we said, those are people problems and those are process problems, and technology exists to support that, but let's really get in and dig into what the problem is. And the Google AdWords one was also just listening to how people had used them before, and they said, well, this just doesn't work. And then someone else said, no, it does work, but the way you were doing it wasn't the way you should have thought about it differently, and just challenging people to think about how they get their work done. It was amazing. It was really, really good.
Okay, but what I want to bring up is that what you just said there about the Google AdWords thing brings back to what you said originally, which I'm going to push back a little bit on, which is it still is about the technology, because as much as we would like to hope that people understand how to use the technology, a lot of lawyers still struggle with that, and a lot of lawyers either don't have the time, or they say, I really need to do that, but then they wind up not doing it. They just never get around to it. And for me, that's one of the challenges. You know, Debbie was mentioning in some of the sessions on Microsoft Office, things that we use all the time in our practice. There were still people that were clapping or saying ooh and ah for some rather basic functionality that we would hope everybody would know how to do, but they don't. And so to me, that's the other value of TechShow is that we keep giving those reminders. I think that still is important. We need to have the broader, you know, the labs and the other social experiments, but we also need to be a place where we can help people learn more about actually how to use the tools, I think.
And Tom, I think there's one really important point about that, and that is the low-hanging fruit. People come here and think, I need something new, and we're saying, maybe not. I mean, if you need something new, that's great, and this is the place to get it, but you might just need to use what you have a little better and learn more about what you have. And it's just fascinating to see when lawyers connect and they start talking about the software that they're using and the things they're doing with it, and another lawyer looks up and says, oh my gosh, I didn't even know I could do that. It's awesome. So that's taking the community's concept even further.
And I think, you know, we've focused, or we've talked a little bit about technology as a tool to make law firms and lawyers more productive and more efficient. But one of the kind of the buzz or the feel that I'm getting from this tech show is how changes in technology being driven by the consumer, and how lawyers are adapting technology to delivery of legal services, either to people who can't afford legal services or to groups of people who perhaps have difficulty connecting with lawyers for whatever reason. Any thoughts about that as far as next year? You know, any programming related to how lawyers can harness technology in the delivery of legal services?
So if you haven't, I think we've recorded the keynote, or I'm not sure if we've done, but if you talk, the keynote really got into that issue, I think, in a way that was interesting to me, because there was some dispute and some disagreement on the panel about what's holding that sort of innovation back, what's holding back lawyers from being able to provide services like that to the middle class or the lower classes, or people who don't have the ability to find a lawyer, or who for some reason can't get legal services. And I think there's still some disagreement whether it's the regulation in the industry that's regulating lawyers has something to do with it, or whether it's just a matter of lawyers finding the right tools and the right ways to connect with those populations that haven't quite been found yet. And I think that two ways that we did that this year at TechShow that they put together that I think were both fairly successful was the hackathon. And the hackathon this year was focused on developing apps for veterans. So that another part of the population that is underserved by the legal market. And then I think also the Startup Alley. Startup Alley existed to show who's brand new tools that might be new in the legal market that can both serve both lawyers and consumers as well. And so I think encouraging that kind of continued innovation and the ability to bring new ideas forward, I think that helps everybody. It helps the consumer. It helps the other vendors out there see what other people are doing and helps them evolve. And it helps lawyers because it I think helps them find out ways to serve other people as well.
And I think that gets to what I always found the greatest challenge in talking to lawyers, writing for lawyers about technology is the wide range of expertise and experience. And you can go from a conversation where you're talking to somebody about the difference between whether they're using AWS or Azure to somebody who says, I don't understand this whole cloud thing. And, and they can be in the same room. And so as a presenter, this is a really difficult area to do, and I think to program a show. So I think that's something we've always tried to evolve over the years. That's why I think this sort of the idea of the communities, of the practical applications kind of helps with that. But it's also a great show where you do get to reach out to people, reach out to speakers that can ask those questions. So it's a delicate balance. So I know that's something you guys consider, and we talk about all the time, but did you pick up some ideas this year for next year along those lines?
I mean, I think that whole beginner, intermediate, advanced thing is just not definable. Like, we've always struggled with that. I was on the board before, and I've been, kind of once you've been a chair, you're kind of on the advisory board, the secret private behind the scenes advisory board, and it's very difficult to define those beginner, intermediate, advanced. And so I think the key to that is tracks and sessions that are descriptive, that help people understand what they're going to get from it, and then making sure that we continue to bring in amazing presenters that meet the expectations of the people that have read the descriptions. And you might go to 8 or 10 sessions when you come to Tech Show, and there's just no question that you'll walk away with somewhere between 2 and 100 amazing things that you didn't know before you got here. And some of that just depends on what your skill set is. So if you're in the AWS, talking about hosted infrastructure and things that are on maybe a higher level, you might walk away with only 2 things or 10 things. But someone who's still struggling with figuring out how to create a subfolder in Outlook is going to leave with 100 and be incredibly overwhelmed when they get back on Monday. And I think that's part of, like tomorrow, Baron Henley, one of our board members, had a great idea for a session last year called, what am I doing on
Monday morning workshops.
The Monday morning workshops. And so tomorrow morning, there are roundtables set up with every imaginable topic that we talked about at Tech Show, where people can come and sit down at those tables and say, I'm at the time billing and accounting table, and I know that is a big pain point in my practice, and talk to 1 or 2 or 3 experts about where they should go on Monday. So taking all of those ideas they have and coming up with a plan for Monday, and that is really on every imaginable topic. So I love that we instituted that, and I think that's something of great value to our attendees that feel really overwhelmed when they're ready to leave Tech Show.
I think one of the things that we probably don't do enough of that I would like to see is that we survey our attendees on the content that we have. Mm-hmm. But I don't know that we do as good a job on surveying them on the content that we don't have.
Right.
Did we pick right on the expert level for anybody? Was there stuff that was either too hard or was it too complex for them? And I'd love to be able to get more feedback. That would be one thing, if possible, without bothering the attendees too much. I'd love to get more feedback and have them tell us a little bit more about what they'd like to see.
So we talked a lot about like CLE content and potential programs that you're pondering. But I also think that one of the great values of ABA Tech Show is just meeting other people, meeting people who are in the same shoes that you are, meeting people perhaps that have a little more expertise, meeting someone in your particular legal discipline who's done something different. Any thoughts or plans for next year about how you'll facilitate that? Let people have more time to mingle and talk. Things like the Taste of Tech Show dinners. I'm wondering if that's going to continue. So that sort of stuff, social engagements, and giving people the opportunity to mix and mingle a little bit.
Well, I hate to pronounce that we're going to do X, Y, and Z because it never survives the first meeting with the board, and so we don't want to go and say absolutely. I think, frankly, the community's idea is a great method of identifying like people and saying, you're in my group, I identify with you. I think that continuing that and finding a way to either enhance it or strengthen it or add to it or whatever, keep it the same, it ain't broke, don't fix it, I think that things like the other networking events, the Taste of Tech Show dinners, I think are useful, and I think they're good because not only because you have the chance to go out and talk about a specific topic that you may want to learn more about, but there's a lot of people that come to Tech Show that don't know anybody. They come alone.
Right.
And it's a great opportunity to just talk to people, and you might not have anything in common with their practice, but you still learn something and you still get to socialize with them. So I would be inclined to keep the Taste of Tech
And you
Show.
get a great meal. I mean, so that's
Yeah,
I would say
for
most
sure.
conferences you go to, if you don't know anybody, you're going to be
Eating in the hotel.
eating in the
or-
hotel or room
Yeah.
service or eating by yourself, and you go, I can just sign up for this thing. And a lot of people say, there was a big change in my life, not just my practice, because of this the tech show dinner I went to, and I met these people,
Yep.
and they became friends, or we did something together, or I learned how to do
Sure.
these things. And that's a really unique thing at any conference I've ever been to.
Yeah, and the other thing that happened this year that was new that I thought was just great is Thursday morning there was yoga. This morning there was a meditation class and a 5K. And one of my clients from Florida is here, and I saw that he was in the 5K picture, and I went up to him and said, hey, I saw you ran the 5K. He's like, oh, it was awesome. I met these great people. Bringing health and wellness into Tech Show has just been awesome. I can't imagine us not doing those things next year either. And Mary Vandenack, who coordinated the yoga and the meditation, was just amazing and volunteering her time to promote health and wellness among our attendees. I mean, it's just really, really great stuff. So I think we continue that if we.
I was going to say that when I think about us, and I was trying to come up with a number, but I'm guessing we probably have done about 200 presentations at Tech Show between all of us.
Between all of us?
Just,
Yeah, that's probably
just guessing. And I would say that it's not, we don't point back to any one of those presentations. It's going to be like the friends we've made, the conversations we've had. And I think this is another really unique thing about Tech Show. I would say the accessibility to speakers is so great, and the chance that you get to talk to people who can change your life and to really help you in some ways. But I would say some of my memories of great conversations are people who've approached me and asked me and told me some of the things they're doing. And I've just been really enthused about the things that they're thinking of doing and how creative they are. And it's nice to be able to say, yeah, here you're going in the right direction. So I think that's a really underemphasized element of Tech Show that is really unique for any conference.
Well, I think that having the fact that the speakers stick around afterwards and throughout the conference where they're accessible to people really is unique. It is something that we don't see very often at places, and I think it's great because I think it's a two-way street. It works both ways. We learn from the people that are there because everybody has different experiences, and some of them have in fact, the guy came up to me in the iPad session yesterday after I finished talking about it, and he said, hey, have you ever seen this happen? And I was like, I've never heard that before. That is the most awesome thing in the entire world. I would absolutely want to do that.
So I
And
think
just to circle back to.
we have a special guest.
Oh, my goodness.
This is Rebel.
This is Rebel. This is Adriana's dog, Rebel. She just adopted him from the expo hall because we had puppies in the expo hall today, which can't think of anything better than that, right? Hi, Rebel. Yes, you're the cutest little doggy ever. Yes, you are. So one of the things, kind of circling back to what we talked about at the beginning, that I think is really important is when you say, why would you guys do this again? Some of my most proud moments as a professional have been lawyers coming up to me and saying, I heard you speak at Tech Show last year, and what you talked about really changed the way I practice, changed the way I use technology. We see, no question about it, that we're making a difference in these people's lives, and that affects them professionally, and it affects them personally, and I love to be a part of that.
Well, I would say that for me, one of the most moving experiences I had at Tech Show was Debbie's speech, the thank you speech after you chaired Tech Show. It was just perfect in so many ways, and I think it really, I just felt like we really became much closer friends because I understood your story, and it was an amazing story to get to you to where you are. So I don't know. We're gonna do the exit, and I am gonna put you on the spot because but this is gonna be an easy exit. Is Tech Show Today guaranteed for next year? Do Steve and I get to do it again?
Is Legal Talk Network in for doing Tech Show Today next year? Because I think if they're in for it, we're in for it, right, Tom?
I think so.
Cheers to Legal Talk Network next year.
I think being able to broadcast things that happen at Tech Show out to the rest of the world is incredibly valuable. And if Legal Talk Network partners with us to do that, then Dennis, you have a job.
But
All
let's
right.
only do it if Adriana
Yeah.
agrees to bring Rebel back.
Only if
because
Rebel comes
if
back,
Rebel
absolutely.
The
is not
official
coming
mascot
back,
of Tech Show Live.
yeah, if
I
we
think
can't
that's
get
a great
Rebel back,
idea.
then I don't know that we're going to be able to pull it off. But if somebody
right.
could talk to Adriana
So the
about
answer
it.
is maybe.
Why can't we get Adriana on this set to congratulate her?
Yeah, come on.
Come on.
Come on.
So real quick, just wrapping this up. So many years ago, 2006, when I first got appointed to the Tech Show board, it was with Adriana, and she has become one of my. I'm gonna get all choked up.
Don't get choked up now.
One of my dearest friends,
All of
and
us, such good friends.
all of us such good friends. So it has really been an amazing experience, and you have done. You need to watch this whole thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we talked about all your amazing stuff.
It's been a
and the
great
Taste
show.
of Tech Show dinners and the Tech Show concierge. Those came from Adriana back in like 2007, and have lived since then, and been a great part of Tech Show. So we have
been
very
awesome.
big shoes to fill, and we will continue the amazing traditions, and we're so happy.
And congratulations to you on an
Congratulations.
awesome show.
Congratulations.
Oh, well,
Great
you know
show.
what?
And an amazing dog.
What's that
Yes.
saying about standing on the shoulders
baby.
of great people? How does that one go?
That's close enough.
That's close enough.
Close enough.
You guys are my
We
great
understand.
people. You are.
Well, thank you all very much. This was an amazing experience, and this was an awesome show, and I loved doing the Legal Talk Network webcasts.
He wants
And
to
thank
come
you both for being our guests.
Thanks for having us. Come to Tech Show 2018.
That's right.
That's
Tech Show
right.
2018. Be there. Be there.
At the Hyatt.